What's up, everybody? In the chat, Stilly Matt. What's up, brother? Appreciate you, Funky Monkey, all the usual suspects. Tough day, tough weekend to do a podcast, but this is what we do, y'all. In the wins and the losses, this is what we do. My homie Dewan was like, I was telling like, man, it's gonna probably be the toughest podcast I've ever done tomorrow. He was like, man, you podcast cats, I couldn't do it. He's like, I couldn't do it. Um, if I was you, I was like, I hear you, bro. I mean, I hear you, but this is what comes with the job, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And definitely did not think I would be doing this type of podcast today at all. I don't think much of anybody did. What's up, y'all? What's up, Bray? What's up, brother? What's up? But Jason, what's up? What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, so but look, we're gonna talk, we're gonna hit some points, we're gonna address some things. I'm gonna give you my thoughts. Funky's gonna give his thoughts. I have a hard stop at 6:45 today. I got a hard stop. I got some very important something very important I need to do this evening. That was already prior, scheduled. So 6:45 hard stop. But let's get into it, man. I'm just gonna put some things out there. First and foremost, Saturday was definitely a roller coaster ride for me. I finally found a ticket. Shout out to my homie Jalen from the Buckeye Scoop family. Jalen, great brother, hit me up after he heard I needed a ticket. He blessed me with a great ticket in the A deck. He gave me a sideline pass. Some of y'all saw the pics. I was sitting right there in the Ohio State bench, right there on the sideline, all by all the players and all the other stuff. I had access to the suites, like recruiting room, all that, man, like red carpet type stuff, man. And it was dope. Saw my brother Mike Red and his family. Me and Mike go way back. I used to work in the ministry with him for years. So I went up to his suite, kicked it with him for a little bit. It was great until it wasn't. Then of course, things in the second half did not improve, and the results. So it went from like, man, this is a great experience, game day. Never been to Michigan game. This is just crazy dope. And then of course it ended like it ended. So the roller coaster ride of just expectations and everything that happened was definitely like, man, this is unbelievable. But just giving you some insight to how my day started and how it ended. But I'll come back to more like specific game analysis and just thoughts and feelings and the saltiness and everything, and then certain topics like Ryan Day. I want to touch on Chip Kelly and things like that. But I want Funky to hop in and holler at y'all real quick. But I just wanted to give y'all an intro of how my day started and finished on Saturday. What up,
Yeah,
Funky?
what's up? As you guys might tell, I was at the game and I gave my all for the Buckeyes and sip. It did not go our way yesterday. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, that was arguably the worst game in Ohio State history. So uh, it's I mean, it's hard to dodge around that answer. But I got to meet B Moses for the first time though, so that was great before the
That was
game,
great. Great.
and met a lot of Buckeye Scoop family, even though they didn't know who I was because whatever. But it was great to see like everyone, and it was such a blast in the shoe. My first time there since 2018, but what a disaster. I mean, do you want me to do you want to keep going right now, B Moses? Do you want me to go in or?
Go ahead, bro. And
Yeah,
I'll jump in afterwards. I mean, it's cool.
the
Do your thing.
it's the one thing I took away from this game after letting it sit, let it cooling down a little bit, watch or not or I didn't watch the game after. I can't. I just couldn't get myself to do it. But talking to people, going on the message board, seeing some highlights, seeing interviews. The one thing I came across for this game is Ryan Day may just be, I'm gonna say it, he may just be soft. And I don't mean soft as in our team is soft. I think our team is more than physical enough to beat any team in the nation. But I think what really showed in the game plan today was his insecurities. I think he wanted to try to prove a point, and he wanted to try to say, hey, we're so much better than Michigan that we can beat them at their own game. And he ran out their best two players in the field seemingly over and over again. Is that his fault? Is it Chip Kelly's fault? I think it's a mix of both. Chip Kelly's the play caller, but I don't think I think that was a game plan going into the game that they probably both had. But Brian Day needs to take a step back and realize that wasn't his best way to win the game. It's he needs to just. I'm sorry, I'm losing my words a little bit here, B Moses, but I think
It's
Ryan
it's a
Day,
tough it's a tough day. Take your time.
yeah, Ryan Day had a plan that he wanted. He trying to want to disprove a lot of these narratives. In reality, he should almost embrace the narrative to an extent and play his own way because his way football with the talent we have works. It's not playing soft isn't a complete like it's you could win by playing soft when that's how you follow the talent. How do you think Oregon beat Michigan? Oregon didn't beat Michigan running at their best guys. Oregon beat Michigan throwing it over their heads, really dismantling them in the pass game. Oregon wasn't trying to run at their best players this whole entire time. They really so I that's the one thing that I took from the game. And on the positive note, Jim Knowles was great. Jim Knowles was fantastic. He really only let up 3 points all game. 10 of those points were pretty much given to them by the offense based off field position for the 50 or 5 yard field goal. And the touchdown was pretty much a pick six. So, I mean, all that hate that Jim Knowles got and how he can't play in the big game or whatever, I got to give him the respect that he deserves. Even though this Michigan team was horrible, especially offensively horrible, he did what he did, and he really only let up 3 true points to Michigan. So and created 2 turnovers, including one in Michigan's red zone. And my final thing I'll just say about the quick summary is we talked about the field goal kicking all year. All year, me and B Moses are both quoted saying, hey, I just have a bad feeling. We just have a bad feeling. We just have a bad feeling. And damn, it's not why we lost, but it's at least 50% reason why we lost because, I mean, that's 6 free points there. I mean, it wasn't, these are 32, 38 yard field goals. Those are unexcusable misses. And if he makes that, we probably win the game. I'm not going to say for sure, but we probably win the
I
game.
think we do.
I think we do too. I think we do too, but I just don't want to say that's 100% the reason why because
Sure.
it's not 100% the reason why.
99.
But it
Go ahead.
it could be 99. Yeah,
I'm just,
but that yeah, that's my quick summary of the game and and yeah, I mean Mason Graham might be the best player in college football, and we played right into his hands all game. And that's just I mean that's cool and we had so many coaching malpractices, but maybe the biggest one was JJ Smith didn't see the ball once in the second half. Didn't see the ball once. It's like not a run, not a target, not a catch or whatever. He didn't even see the ball once. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. JJ Smith is the best wide receiver in college football right now. He should be seeing the ball, I mean, 3, 4, 5 times a half. And does not see once is insane because Michigan's defensive backs were their bad. I mean, they stepped up and they played a decent game yesterday, but that's still like they're not as good as JJ, and we all know that. And every time he got the target, it seemed like something good was about to happen because we threw the ball twice, or well, I'm sure we threw it more than twice down the field, but I mean, it was not much more than twice. It's probably 2, 3, 4 times, and 2 of those times were PIs. So they couldn't really guard us. We just really weren't testing them. But I wish we would have given our best players bigger chances to win this game for us.
I hear you, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, lots of frustration, man. Lots of I mean, this loss was definitely a gut punch. It I mean, it was just in the moment, being a prisoner in the moment is, it's easy to say it's the worst loss in Ohio State history. I don't know that because I've seen some really bad losses, but it's up there. I don't think that's debatable. I think it's up there, but I don't know if it's the worst because there's been some really bad ones, but it's up there. So that says something right there. With that said, I slightly disagree with Funky on some things, and we talked about this backstage. So watching the game in person is great for the atmosphere, but it's not. It's just not the same when you watch on TV and get the first of all, Ohio State needs to show replays. Whoever is it, Ross Bjork, get them on showing more replays because we don't be knowing what the heck is going on in the stadium. Like, what happened? What happened? What's going on? On TV, you get the full context analysis and camera views and stuff like that. So watching at the crib is a little different. So I rewatched the game and it was able to, confirm and deny some things. But the thing I slightly disagree with Funky on is as far as running at Michigan. So what I mean at is this. In the first quarter, there were some plays where we did run up the middle. Didn't do much. But we started in the second quarter, especially running to the outside. We would hand off to Judkins or Henderson, and we would move the line. It was like a sort of a stretch play to basically make the fat boys run. And Michigan, let me just say this. I hate Michigan with all my soul. I really do. But their defense came to play yesterday. Their defense played an excellent game. I have to tip my cap. They had a great scheme. They had a great game plan, and they played with discipline. I know their corners and secondary aren't great. However, they played their scheme great yesterday. They just did. And let me tell you something about JJ. I'm just going to go with what's on my mind and with the flow. Watching the game in the stadium and then watching it on TV, a lot of what people didn't see, our guests didn't acknowledge, is that Michigan, JJ wasn't always in single coverage when you thought he was. What they were doing, they did this several times. I was just watching. Actually, I still got the TV on right now, the game, the pause in the fourth quarter. What Michigan would do is they would show the safety not over the top against Jeremiah Smith pre-snap. And then right when he was anticipating the snap, they would roll the safety over deep to cover up JJ Smith. They did that a ton. All right. So pre-snap, they gave a look, but post-snap, it wasn't every time, but a good majority of the time, they were doing that to take J.J. Smith away over the top. Now, when I went back and watched, I did see targets to J.J. when he was not covered up. And one time we threw into triple coverage and almost got it picked off. If the Michigan DB doesn't hit it, the other DB behind him probably picks it off. We try to force it into him. And so I guess in hindsight, going back, rewatching the game, hearing people's thought, we got to get to J.J. Moore. I agree we got to get to J.J. Moore. I have to give credit to Michigan for their defensive game plan. I just do. It hurts to say that, but they played extremely well up front and on the back end. And even when we try to run to the edges, they were there. You know who really struggled? And this is why I got this comment from Kevin on here. O-line injuries was the huge blow. Mm-hmm. Carson Hinsman and Tegra Shabola struggled mightily. Go back and watch the game. Now, they actually did better in pass pro, even though they were getting blasted on some passing downs as well. They held up better on pass pro, but on run plays, even when they didn't run up the middle, they were still struggling. There was too many times I was stopping the play and showing Hinsman blocking nobody and Michigan players knifing through unblocked. Same thing with Shabola. Mason Graham was absolutely ragdolling Shabola. And Shabola is a veteran. So, yes, O-line injuries was a huge blow. And this is what I mean, is that this is the most decimated O-line I can ever remember at Ohio State. We've weathered the storm as much as we could. There's only so much you can do when you get further and further down the depth chart. And some people say, well, it's Ohio State. No, you're a backup for a reason. If everybody on the depth chart was equal, like they would be in the NFL, like, come on, man. They're a backup for a reason. It's not that they can't be good or can't eventually be to that certain level, but reps matter. You know what I'm saying? Especially going against basically two NFL D tackles. And they just struggled. So I'll say one more thing, Funky, because I don't want to go on too long without you chiming in because I got a lot to say. But I understand people's frustration with us running the ball at times. But you have to run the ball sometimes. You cannot throw the ball every single time against a good defense, especially a defense like Michigan's that was playing very well. So with Chip Kelly, who I'm going to get to in my next comment, because I feel like we're letting him off the hook and we're just all focused on Ryan Day, which is fine. He's the coach. Fire Ryan Day. Cool. But Chip Kelly is kind of getting let off the hook a little bit. Even with Michigan playing very well on defense, there are things, this is what he gets paid for, that he could have came up with schematically to combat what they were doing. You got to pull something out, bro. And I don't think he did a great job of play calling. I just don't. And so I'll stop there for now, Funky. I'll let you roll in.
Yep.
And then maybe we can hit on Chip Kelly next.
I've actually, or some good news,
What's that?
shockingly. So, one of the lesser good news, no players will be suspended from Ohio State for the encounter on the field versus Michigan.
Okay.
The Big Ten put out a statement. They fined Ohio State 100K, Michigan 100K, and they said the matter is concluded. From from what I've read, they said the Big Ten conference considers this matter concluded and will have no further comment. So our players are safe for the playoffs. That's first good news. That's because I was of the opinion I thought they're going to be suspended. I thought some of them probably deserved to be suspended because, or I think what they did was completely right, and I'm very happy they did it. But I think it's just a matter of principle, and I thought the Big Ten or NCAA would, or Ohio State would suspend them. Very happy they did it though, clearly, because I want to win the football games. So, but I'm very happy they did that because that really we were so mad in 2022 when no one did anything and everyone called them out for not doing something. And so this year when they stepped up and did something, warmed my heart a little bit. And I felt so bad for Jack Sawyer because he played out of his mind and people are clowning him all over the internet. In reality, he completely owned Michigan and had what would have been the play we all remember for the next 10 years if we end up winning that game. Uh, but the next good news is Tarvis Alford tweeted out a tweet just now saying something of the lines of like he standing in the rain. So even when times are tough, because I'm sure right now people are like, this would be the time to decommit from Ohio State. He's a linebacker that was actually crystal balled the flip to Miami, fong bonged, but he just tweeted out that you got to stand in the rain, and you can only really take that as a positive because seemingly with National Signing Day coming around the corner, keeping him in the class would be a huge get because he's a really talented kid from South Florida. So that was positive for me right there. So those are the two positives that I'll just give you right there. If you have any opinions on that, B. Moses.
Yeah, that's definitely positive. And shout out to Jack Sawyer, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people hating like, man, where was all that energy and anger during the game? What are you talking about? Like the defense, this loss is not on the defense, y'all.
Yeah.
It's not. Like Funky said, that terrible interception Howard threw that set them up at the 3-yard line is what gave them their touchdown. It wasn't the defense. That their offense couldn't really do anything all game. They had a couple of plays where they broke free. Other than that, they shut him down. Sawyer played his heart out. All right. And I felt him pulling the flag. Not this time. I don't care if you won or not. You're not doing it. Just do. I don't remember our players doing that on their field. Maybe they did. I don't remember that. Go ahead, Funk.
Sorry, B. Moses, but I think I said the wrong name. Tarvis Alford. Can I call him?
Yeah. I thought you said Tarvis, but
okay. So because sometimes I accidentally call him TJ, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure why I do, but okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Nah. But yeah, I rock with Jack Sawyer, man. I definitely feel bad for him, man. That interception was great. I mean, he made an NFL type play. Like he read that very well and saved a touchdown, a short touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And so that's why I used his picture for the thumbnail of him ripping the flag, because it's like, man, I feel it. It's just, can y'all understand like the pain and the frustration? Listen, if you play sports on any level, obviously most of us don't play college football, college basketball. But just playing sports on any level, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the competitive fire and the passion, like in a game this big, to come up short like that, and you played your heart out, and then these jokers gonna try to do that again. Nah, I felt him. So anyway, with the recruits, I mean, whenever there's a loss like this or something, it's always going to be a real-time prisoner of the moment overreaction from fans and media, and then life goes on. We're going to sign guys who want to be Buckeyes. We're going to sign guys who want to say, you know what, I want to come in and help us get over this hump. You know what I'm saying? Those are the guys you want. Like, hey, nah, we're going to come in and we're going to change this. That's the guys we want. If that's Alfred, cool. If not, cool too.
Yep. Sorry, someone just said in the comments, maybe we can get that Syracuse QB in the portal. If I have a friend that goes to Syracuse who, like, where kind of trolls me about the Kyle McCord thing or whatever. And I told him, I said, you know, if Kyle McCord ever threw 5 picks as an Ohio State Buckeye, I said he'd be two things. He'd either be dead or in a different country by now, because Ohio State fans would not let that slide. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's just I'm not giving that any more light, because I mean he's just trash, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and real quick on McCord. I mean, look, this is just the case with anything, man. There's a lot of butt hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of saltiness. We're all hurting on some level. Like, man, this sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. However, what comes with that real, frustration is bad takes. A bad take is a bad take, regardless if the frustration is justifiable. So, no, this doesn't mean all of a sudden, oh, we should have kept Kyle McCord. First of all, Kyle McCord could have stayed. He could have stayed and competed for the job and showed that he's improved. Remember, he threw 2 picks against Scum last year, too. And those 2 picks is what killed us, especially his early pick. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that about Kyle McCord. But with that said, I want to talk about Chip Kelly. But first, let's talk about Will Howard, because Will Howard overall has been really good this year. He's been a good quarterback. He's done some great things, but he played his worst game yesterday. And I just don't know. What to say about that. I mean, I believe the kid has a lot of passion, a lot of fire, the want to win. He's a leader. I mean, everyone who's around him declares he's a leader. Kansas State, when he left, said he was a leader. Kids on his team, coaches love him, his leadership on and off the field. But he did not play a great game. That early pick was a terrible decision. You can't do that. And so was the second pick was, I don't know if that, one thing I'll say in the stadium, and listen, I know people are going to take this the wrong way and say it's an excuse, but in the stadium, the wind and condition is worse than outside the stadium. You notice when they were about to kick off like 3 or 4 times, they had to keep picking the ball up. The gustiness of the wind in the stadium is just worse than you think it is. With that said, Will Howard still has to take care of the ball. You have to be smarter with your decision-making throwing the ball, because you know that if the wind is a factor, then your ball placement and your timing has to be on point. That second pick, I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if he was expecting Ibuka to come back. I don't know. The point is, we can't do that, man. We left so much on the field. But let's talk about Chip Kelly. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this is the hardest podcast I've ever done, because I've got so many thoughts and so much frustration. I'm trying to harness it and try to provide you with some comprehensive, type of a display, but it's just really hard. But with that said, Funky, and I'm gonna hit on Chip Kelly, and then you can jump in. The reason I'm bringing up Chip Kelly is because I understand Ryan Day's the whipping boy, and we all want him fired. But people keep saying Ryan Day's play calling, and he's not calling the plays. Chip Kelly was brought here to call the plays, for Ryan Day to trust him with the playbook and trust him with what he's doing, developing, and what he's going to come back to. And, oh, why are we running here? Oh, trust me, I'm building something. He mentioned that in a few press conferences ago, that he had, he kind of chuckled about it, like, trusting what Chip was building, and he can understand what Chip was trying to do. Now, of course, Ryan Day's on the headset, but he didn't bring Chip here to overrule every play he calls. He trusts him with the game plan and to call plays. So this notion that Ryan Day was calling plays is just false. It was Chip Kelly. I'm saying that for a reason, because Chip Kelly is not being mentioned a lot. And if anybody let this team down, it was Chip Kelly. You are supposed to be the innovative mastermind. Yes, Michigan played a great game on defense. They had a great game plan, but you are supposed to be savant. You know what I mean? A freaking offensive mind to say, you know what? Okay, I see what they're doing. Let's do this, especially if your interior O-line is struggling. Now, he did try some different things. When I went back and watched, he tried some different things, but it's like, okay, like, dude, you got to figure this out. to your point, Funky, with targeting JJ, even if they were taking, rolling a safety over the top, dude, you got to get him on a crosser, get him. They did try to throw him a screen, but that was bottled up.
Oh my
You
God, that
got to
was
try to figure
horrible.
a way to get him isolated in space because of his speed. Just get him the ball. He's physical. He could have did a much better job at that. Also with Ibuka. So I'm saying, yes, okay, Ryan Day's ultimately the head coach, whatever. Like, go after him. But Chip Kelly ain't been getting enough smoke for me. And I'll stop right there and you can hop in.
By the way, I don't think that's actually Yoder in the chat.
Is there
Or
a
is
fake
it?
Yoder?
I think there's a fake Yoder, and you should probably ban him because he said something pretty horrible.
Let me see.
Yeah, I don't think it's Yoder,
It's
but
hard to tell. It's a
even
profile
if
pic.
it
I don't
is
know.
Yoder, I would ban him because that was horrible. What he just said. I'm not going to repeat it, but uh, uh, the first thing is you're totally right. Uh, that was horrible. I mean, that's probably one of Chip Kelly's worst games he's ever coached in his whole entire coaching career, and I don't think that's really doubtable. Uh, it's that's just I don't even. I mean, you're just totally right. It's hard to even talk about. It's hard to talk about the game, B Moses, but just
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that the jet sweeps would not have worked, or those little wide receiver screens, or I feel like we ran wide receivers across the field and it looked like an option, but in reality, it probably just was a power in the middle. But it looked like the wide receiver pass would have worked. Maybe it would not have. I'm not really sure. I didn't watch it over. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I just feel like he had to get something going. B Moses, like that's his job. Like it's not my job to figure out what he should have done. That's his job. He should know. We should plan for Michigan 365 days a year. So we like. There's no way they didn't think, oh wow, what are they going to do? Of course they're going to try to double JJ. Like no crap, that's what teams do. They're going to try to make you run it at the big guys. We can't just be like, oh, JJ's not open, we have to run it, so let's do exactly what they want. And yeah, sorry, someone says Funky barely has a voice. I know. I'm telling you, I gave it my all for the Buckeyes. I tried my best. I was there. I was yelling the whole game. But yeah, I mean, they're just that was coaching malpractice, and that he's gonna get whipped for it. And people talk about firing Ryan Day. I think firing Chip Kelly is 10 times more likely, or Chip Kelly being or him retiring or resigning is 10 times more likely. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a positive rant, or not even a positive rant, but why one, we aren't going to fire Ryan Day, and two, we shouldn't fire Ryan Day.
Uh-oh.
And my
Duck.
my reasoning for this is one, we will owe him $30+ million if we fire him. Ohio State isn't going to pay that for a guy who's winning 10, 11 games a year. That just would be kind of really, really hard to do, especially for this early on to his career. The second reason is in this new era, Ryan Day leaves. You know who leaves with him? Everybody that can, because that's what happens. And the donations will go down. Yeah, I mean, the NIL will go down. Players will leave. And we'll have a really scary year next year. And when this new era of NIL, things can flip on your head. Just ask Florida State how they're doing. So I wouldn't even dare to not hire Ryan Day unless there was someone in building that I feel like could take his role and be the next head coach at the Ohio State University. And there just isn't. There isn't that guy right now that I see. That's glaring obvious. There's whatever. Like the best option I can think of is Marcus Freeman, but I don't even think that would like. Well, that would be I still wouldn't even like that because we know Marcus Freeman literally played 10 guys on the field back-to-back plays versus Ohio State in the biggest game of the year. So I don't think he's that good of a coach either. But there isn't a great hire for Ryan Day, and I think people would leave. I think the program would be a disaster for at least a year, maybe two, and I don't think that's worth it personally. I think Ryan Day is a young coach. He's 45 years old. I think he has a lot of growing he can do, but I think the Ryan Day we're going to see, he can literally be the head coach at Ohio State for another 20 years. And I think the Ryan Day we'll see in 3, 4 years is going to be improved. and improved and improved and improved. Because until he starts losing, like, I mean, losing. I mean, we've won 10 plus games every time he's been here. And I don't care if you guys say, like, oh, it's, of course you win 10 plus games. You see all the talent we have. There's teams all across the country that recruit at a high level who don't win games. That happens all the time. So eventually he's going to get over the ledge. And I think he will. But again, there's some serious questions I need to answer. And I think his job, I think he should have to, I don't know, maybe take a pay cut, give him the Jim Harbaugh, make him take a pay cut or something along those lines. And but at the end of the day, I kind of want to see how this playoff turns out. Like, I want to see what Ryan does, how Ryan Day responds to this, because at this point in the season, it's natty or bust. I hate to say we were anti that this whole entire year, but now I feel like it's proper to say it's national title or bust. And we still have a great chance to win the national title off any odds. We are going to be, I mean, if you go through the odds or the playoff projections, will probably be a 6 or 7 seed, depending on what happens. But Ryan Day won this year. He's already made improvements. He's won the big game. He beat 2 top 5 teams this year, and then almost went on the road and beat the number 1 team in the country. Damn, the James Yoder is back.
Somebody please ban James Yoder, the fake James Yoder, with his vile comments about Carnell Tate's mom. These are the type of folks we deal with, y'all.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, please get rid of that dude.
But
my bad, Funky.
I mean, but that's my reasoning to keep Ryan Day. I don't think Ohio State should fire him without knowing exactly who we want to hire after, because this era of kids could transfer in a second. Kids don't want to commit to a head coach that they don't even know who's going to be there. Look how that worked out for Bama. They thought they got this amazing coach. They think they got this. He probably was one of the best coaches that they can get, and they end up losing 3 games in their first year, and everyone's pissed. They lost Caleb Downs. They lost Julian Sayin, and the future of Bama doesn't look that good. So I think we have to be really careful who we hire, because even though Ryan Day clearly tightens up versus Michigan, clearly has trouble, clearly has a lot of issues versus Michigan that needs to be addressed. But in this new era of college football, where there's a scenario every single year where you can lose to Michigan every single year and still win the national title. That it's a new era. Like, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. Or no, it is very bad. I'm not saying this is what I'd want, but I'm just saying it's a new era of college football, and we have to look at the bigger picture of it. We can't just zone in on one thing and one thing only, because then we'll be left behind in the dust compared to these other teams. So I think we'll be really careful, because Ryan Day, no matter what anyone can say, has done a good job at Ohio State. He's done at least a fine job. He's won a ton of games. He's won some Rose Bowls. He's won top 5 games. He's almost won a few national titles at this point. And this year we're tied for the second best odds to win a national title. So if we completely explode in the round 1 of the playoffs, then then I'm changing my opinion. That's just, I have the right to do that. Then I'm changing my opinion. But if I've learned one thing from Ryan Day, is I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll win the first round, win the second round, and now we have to win that semifinals. And to be honest with you, if we don't win the championship at this point in the season, I think I look at it as a failure. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So, yeah, let me say all of this. And again, I have a hard stop at 6:45. So after I say this, we need to get in some funky chats, some super chats. The super chats may be funky, but I'll say this. Listen, Jim Harbaugh started off 0-5 against Ohio State, which also included a loss to Ryan Day, a blowout loss at the Big Blouse. Okay. He said, I'm going to beat Ohio State if I die trying or whatever. Now, with this rivalry, Again, I lived through the 90s. None of y'all can lecture me about this rivalry. I've lived it, I've seen it, I felt the pain of the 90s. All right. So I understand this rivalry. And I understand comparisons of coaches and all the other stuff. So you're not gonna get that off on me. With that said, with this rivalry, there's certain things that can cause momentum. There's certain things that can infuse a certain level of confidence. Now, Michigan was able to obtain that confidence, but they did it by cheating. Hold on, did my camera go off?
Yeah, your camera went off, Moses. But we might
All
just have to
right.
go through it until then, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it back on. But listen, just roll with it. You can imagine me talking if it don't come back on. Because we almost at the end. But anyway, let's just roll with it. As long as you can still hear me. Can everybody still hear me in the
Yep, you
chat?
sound good.
Okay, cool. So listen, basically my point is this. Harbaugh finally got his Wolver Queens off the schneid, but they had to cheat to do it. I saw somebody in the chat say, I don't want to hear nothing about stealing signs. Listen, this is what I mean by a bad take is a bad take, regardless of your justification of your frustration. It's because yesterday's result does not negate what actually happened. They cheated. The NCAA came out months ago when it first dropped and gave evidence. They said we have uncontroverted evidence that they cheated. I don't know how many times I got to say this. They cheated. So, yes, the last 3 years were tainted. No question. This year, they won fair and square. No, you get no pushback about any cheating this year. They won. We blew it, and they won the game. But that doesn't take away what they did the last 3 years. They were able to get off the schneid and turn the rivalry through cheating. Now it's getting to the point, or we've arrived to the point officially where it's a mental thing. It is a mental, psychological thing. And it's just like, it's a shame that they had to cheat to get it to that point, but that's what happened. And now we're here. So, it's frustrating to deal with, but it's just reality of the situation. So with that said, going to my next part is that, to Funky's point, it is true. Today is different. This is not your grandpa's college football that we're living in right now. The stakes are different. So there's two things. There's two reasons why the game has always been high stakes. Because of bragging rights, number one, the bragging rights, and then because of how it would derail your season. Your season literally could or would be over with if you lost that last game to Scum. Big Ten championship on the line, national championship. Now, because of the college football landscape, it's so much different because you have the playoffs. And we're literally going to be in the playoffs still after losing 2 games and one of them to Michigan. Like that's not how it used to be. So when you're thinking as an athletic director like Bjork, you see the winning percentage. You see the number 1, number 2 recruiting class right now. You see the NIL and the portal situation, meaning if you were to fire him, because here's the thing, let's talk about it. You want to fire Ryan Day. I see y'all in the chat. Y'all want to fire Ryan Day. Great. It's not just about removing the man. It's a lot that comes along with that. Some of y'all are too trustworthy to believe that whoever they bring in is going to keep J.J. Smith and keep all these guys and all these recruits. I don't trust that. And furthermore, a lot of these big blue blood teams have dipped considerably and fell off. We have not done that. That is what concerns me. Does that mean that, basically it's a risk either way. We fire Ryan Day, a lot of that crumbles. And who's to say that we're going to be able to get back to that place of being right there as opposed to rebuilding for a few years because, we decimated the program. That was actually very healthy considering, as programs go. Obviously, we love we want to win the rivalry game. But that's the challenge for me. It's like, okay, do you understand the potential that comes with that? And it's just like, that's what is the challenge for me. But I'll start right there. I know we got to get into some super chats. You want to hop in real quick while I pull these up?
Oh, yeah. Real quick, I'll just say the one point you'll say right there is someone in the chat said, do you remember Ohio State was good before Ryan Day was head coach? Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, because we had Urban Meyer as our head. This was in my lifetime. We've had three real head coaches. We have Jim Tressel, and right when Jim Tressel got fired, you know what happened when Jim Tressel got fired? B Moses, we turned to crap. We were crap in 2011. We were horrible, and I don't think that's a matter of. I still think we had talent, but we still lost. Whatever, we were 6-6. We ended up being 6-7 by the end of the
Yeah.
year. Like that wasn't a total talent thing. That was a personnel. That was a coaching thing. That was a whole thing. We went to crap immediately. Then we made a splash hire to get Urban Meyer, and that saved our program because Urban Meyer, one of the greatest coaches of all time, did that. And then when Urban Meyer retired, he didn't go. He didn't just say, "Okay, peace out. Go try to find someone." Like there was someone directly in line to take Urban's job. It was Ryan Day. He actually coached before that when Urban had to face his little suspensions, whatever. We won't go into that. But when his face suspensions, Ryan Day did coaching and did a great job coaching. He knew that Ryan Day would be fit for the job. So he left and gave Ryan Day the keys. Has Ryan Day beat Michigan as much as we want him to? No. Has Ryan Day had a face against some really, really, really good Michigan teams with all the cheating, plus with all the cheating? Also true. So sometimes you got to remember, sometimes it's a rivalry. Losses are going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't. This one was totally unexcusable in my opinion. I really think. I mean, this one's different. It just is, and it's hard for me to fully explain, but it just is different. But at the end of the day, I still think Ryan Day is the right one for the job because there isn't a glaring one that we could hire. There's no Ryan Day as defensive coordinator right now, or no Urban Meyer, or no Jim Tressel sitting there as quarterback coach. And don't say Brian Hartline because we all know how bad that would end.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop at 650. We got to get these super chats in. Real quick, Studley Butley, thanks for the 4.99. Why not run the hurry up spread, get up 2-3 TDs, then try to run the ball at the middle? If that was the point, interception we wanted to make me was the point. Are you? Hold on, I'm not understanding what you're saying. Middle, if that was the point, interception we wanted to make me. I'm not sure what you mean by that last part, but yeah, I mean that's what you think is okay. Why not run? Hurry up constantly, but. I don't know if that is something you can just do the entire game without. One thing Ryan Day did mention is you gotta pick up first downs, and so if you're that's true though. You have to be moving the sticks to do up tempo and you know what I'm saying. So you have to sustain drives. So I think my camera about to cut off. I don't know what the heck is going on, but whatever. Y'all can hear me. That's all that matters. Thanks, Jason, for the $9.99. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much. Great dude. Let me see. Larry Daniels. I saw on the message board that blue offense only went 6 yards for 10 points. The interception returned to the 2. Punt return to the 38 resulted in a 50-yard field goal. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they didn't do much on offense at all. Our defense played a heck of a game. And our offense and our special teams let us down. Henderson, God bless him, I love the dude, but he bad field position because he goofed up with the ball coming outside of the half. All of that matters. The 2 missed field goals. Our punter was trash. Yeah, just not good. Mickey, thank you always for the 1999. You always come through, man. I appreciate it. And then Jay Gonzo, listen, thanks for the 1999. Kirby, whatever, smart record against Bama. Harbaugh recorded against kind of a little bit of a dribble against Ohio State. Enough said. Unless you have a person with a resume better than Ryan Day, your program will sink. Harbaugh lost 5 straight before running 2. Okay, my bad. I get what you're saying. All right, so Jay Gonzo, yeah, that it's tough, man. Like, yes, in our emotions, 24 hours since the game, and our frustration and the unacceptable nature of losing this game, it's like fire Ryan Day. To me, I'm not going to get caught up in emotion to the point where I'm not thinking, I care about this program, y'all. These are my Buckeyes. I care about our boys, our guys being in a position to win every year. Of course, I want to win every game and win championships every year and beat Michigan every year. Of course I do. But I'm also concerned about the program. And I've seen too many blue bloods fall off trying to make a decision, thinking that it's right because, oh, well, we lost to this team or whatever. Like, that's the challenge for me. Okay, fire Ryan Day. I'm open to hearing what you have to say. But I'm also like, we have to. In today's NIL world, in the portal world, that's what makes me nervous. Is that, remember years ago when a coach got fired, you couldn't just leave. Remember that? That rule is recent. So now with these guys, these teams are about relationships. I mean, I'm sorry, not just these teams, but these players and the coaches. There's relationships, y'all. A guy will bang out. Just because you bring in a guy you think is a big time name doesn't mean that kid and his family is going to like that coach. Just like Caleb Downs, I heard great things about DeBoer, but Caleb Downs wasn't feeling it. He said he ain't feel like that's where he needed to be. Him and his family was like, nah, I'm good. And they lost a first round pick safety because of it. So I'm saying you have to weigh the cost. I know y'all want them fired. That's cool. I'm just in a place like, dang, man, like we still got a playoff game we got to play. Regardless of how much I want him fired, we're going to the playoffs. And they have to play that. I know some of y'all talking about, I don't want to go to the playoffs. Well, we're going to the playoffs. So what you going to do, not watch? It's just so much, man. So much has changed in college football from now to back in the day when losing the scum was literally everything. Now all it is losing bragging rights. It doesn't derail your season. It derails your bragging rights. And that's the difference. Let me see. If we got the kicker in the portal, we aren't even having this conversation. Thank you,
Facts.
Joe. Thank you. You reminded me of that. I'm glad you said that. In my opinion, I doubt we have that same issue moving forward. I can classify them by 1 or 100. So thank you for saying that, because one thing I will get on Day about, and because, again, Day is the head coach, he ultimately takes responsibility for losing games. So he's held responsible regardless, period. However, it's not always that simple. You got to point at specifics of the game, like Chip Kelly, the special teams, all that. Now, he's over all of that, but it's not just as simple, just it's just Day. And the point is this: I will blame him for not going harder after a field goal kicker in the portal. Because, again, me and Funky been real nervous about fielding all year. I can forgive missing a 45-yarder or a 50-yarder and in tough conditions. Like, man, that's tough. But a chippy at the crib, like, come on, man.
Two of them.
Two of them.
Sorry.
Those win us the game. There's going to be some games, even against a perceived bad team. I just did the air quotes like y'all can see me. My camera's off. But some of these games, look at what Georgia Tech almost did to Georgia. It's a rivalry game. This was a swift kick in the nads to remind us of how much this is the rivalry, okay? And so sometimes it's going to be an ugly knockdown, drag out game, and your special teams may have to win you the game. And they basically were a big contributor as to why we lost. So great point, Joe. Let me see. I think we got one more super chat. Love the content, gentlemen. What's up, Rusty? Appreciate you. $49.99. Good Lord. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. And I appreciate all the work you're putting in. I've been meaning to follow and chat for a while now, so I'm making it up with a solid donation. Thank you, man. I will say we have lost a very important part of our culture we do need to change. They need to evaluate everything. Everything will be evaluated like it always is at the end of the season. However, we have a playoff game to play. So
4 of them.
I mean, exactly. Like, so it's just so different than what it used to be. So I'm not just flat out fire Ryan Day because I'm pissed off we lost the game I don't think we should have lost, because there's so much more moving parts in today's college football than it was when I grew up. And that's just a fact. So that's why I'm hesitant. Like, okay, maybe we fire Ryan Day. This is unacceptable, but you got to consider all these things. So, Funky, anything you got to say before we hop off?
No, not really. But one thing I would say is before this game, we need to win 4 games after this game to win a national title. And now after the game, we still need to win 4 games to win a national title. So that's all I'll say. We have 4 games to win. Let's win these next 4 games, and our outlook on the season will be completely different. And if we don't, then we'd be upset anyways, to be honest with you. But let's just win these next 4 games. Let's go, Buckeyes.
Yeah, that's all you can really do. And just remember, in 2004, a Michigan team that was on their way to the Rose Bowl to play Texas lost to Ohio State, a 4-loss team, in the shoe with Troy Smith. Troy Smith's coming out party. So that Ohio State team was unranked. They were double-digit dogs. Mm-hmm. Kirk Barton brings it up all the time, and they won that game. So again, for those of y'all who didn't experience the 90s, didn't experience like beyond 20 years of this rivalry, it's the rivalry game, y'all. and we got popped yesterday. You know, no excuses. We should have won the game. There was some specific things we can point to say, you know what, these are reasons why we lost. We mentioned that, but at this point, we got to see what's up next week with this seeding, the playoffs, and go from there. Some of y'all who are upset still by that point, I guess maybe don't watch the playoff game. I love my Buckeyes. I'm going to be still heartbroken that we lost to them bums, but I'm going to watch my Buckeyes line up against whoever they're seeded against in the playoffs. That's what I'm going to do. So love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Go ahead, Funk. One last thing before we
go Bucks, and I can't wait to watch Michigan lose in the Cheez-It Bowl.
In the Cheez-It Bowl. All right, man. Listen, we're going to holler at y'all Sunday. I wish we had a little more time, but man, it's go Bucks regardless, man. I know it's been rough. I know that Saturday was trash, but man, we gonna get through it like we always do, man. Go Bucks. I'll holler at y'all.
Go Bucks.
All right, peace.